Go. I love this.
Come on, Cannalachia.
Like, how can you not? You can't be in a bad mood when you're hanging out with Chill.
Right? You can't be.
It's awesome.
It's Chill, our producer, director, camera operator, lighting designer, man about town, and my husband. Hi, guys. Welcome to Cannalachia. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited, Justin, because today we have one of my good friends, amazing singer, songwriter, excellent human, Rachel Crowe is with us today.
That's super exciting.
Yay!
Fellow Kentuckian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fellow Kentucky.
I'm trying to move, and I just keep coming back.
No, don't do that.
No.
No.
I love it. Yeah.
I've been all over the world. I was born in New York, raised in New England, then moved to LA, then the mountains, California, and I found myself here, and this turned out to be home.
It's funny. There's something about, I think, the dirt.
Maybe
say that. I was like, I love going south to visit, but I could never live there. The red dirt, just, I need that dark soil.
There really is something about it because I think a lot about. I don't like winter. So Kentucky's beautiful and it has 4 seasons, but cold weather is just not my cup of tea. But Kentucky is home, and there is something about it here. There's an energy here, and there's something that just I don't know. It just moves with the people and the land. So it's a hard thing to leave if it's a part of who you are.
Insanely poetic. I love that.
You know? Maybe that's a new song for you. You know,
Just stick around with me for a little bit. I mean,
I'm gonna mull that one around for a
yeah.
while.
right? Let it steep a little.
So, as with every show, we're gonna start off with some cannabis news.
That's right.
Now there's some cannabis news. That's my human sound effect. So, Justin, what is happening in your side of cannabis news?
I saw a few things today, and one that really grabbed me was out of Lubbock, Texas. So the local folks there had asked their local leaders to decriminalize marijuana. And those folks, their leadership decided that, no, we're not going to do that. So they pretty much all voted against it. So those folks have now had enough signatures or whatever their the way they go about doing it, their petition or whatever, to get it on their ballot come May of next year to allow the citizens in their community to vote for it. So why I find this interesting is because Jefferson County, we talked about that in the last episode, decriminalized marijuana a while back ago here in Kentucky. So maybe this is something that counties or parishes throughout the United States might want to follow up with. You know, if their state government and our federal government's not going to get on board to clear the way, maybe local folks who are living in their communities that, you know, enough of them's like, we've had enough. We want this to be decriminalized. We want this to be our medicine. Maybe that's what they should do.
Time to
What do
start
you think?
For it. For it.
You know?
No
I mean,
pun intended. Yeah, no, I 1,000% agree with that.
I mean, that's kind of like power to the people in a way, but,
Sure.
you know, why not? You know, if a local community thinks that this is what's best for us and they're not doing anyone else any harm, why not? You know?
So, well, here's the quote, because I think as a state, Texas did decriminalize, right?
Yes.
On a state level.
I'm pretty positive, yeah.
So I think that's because that same kind of thing happened in California, where we were talking about that last week, where the state decriminalized and allowed medical cannabis, but not every county and
Right.
city. And so they still are expanding those.
Kind of like how we've had wet, dry, and
Yeah.
God forbid moist areas. It just had to come out, you know. But
Only buy liquor on Friday.
and that's really what's interesting when we start thinking about the legalities of cannabis, is because it really is, as most people say, the wild, wild west. Whether it's federal, state, now we're at the local level. It's I think what we're hearing, though, is that there's more people for it than against it. You know, I really do believe that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, capitalism always wins. And so, you know, that's the one thing that's going to turn some of those real hardliners to hearts.
Right.
Sorry. I
And
don't mean
well,
to be the.
on that, I mean, I only had one piece of camp, but I have another piece that's on the capitalism end of things.
Sure.
Michigan announced, I believe it was yesterday, that their cannabis tax, marijuana tax, actually raked in more tax dollars than alcohol sales.
Wow.
I love it.
So alcohol sales was at about, I think, $190 million as far as the tax revenue to the state, and cannabis was $270 million.
And, I think being here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, we should probably point out, too, and I don't know, I haven't seen the statistics on that, but, some people are concerned that cannabis would affect our bourbon industry here, which is a part of our history, which as well as I do.
I'm a bourbon girl.
That it's not going to hurt
Listen,
that.
no, the export of it is so crazy.
Yeah, and it didn't actually hurt. So the alcohol sales stayed the same.
Well,
it's
that's
not
what
that it reduced alcohol
Right.
sales. It's just that marijuana sold that much more.
Well, I just wanted to kind of bring that up because, if someone is listening, if we don't, I'm glad that you pointed that out and clarified it because I figured that's what it was. But, I think that's great for Michigan. And we had talked in the last episode about how Missouri had took $17 million out of both their recreational and their medicinal program to help veterans. So, it paid for health care and legal aid and all of these things. And that's something I would love to see as one of the things that we would do here in the Commonwealth if and when, and we will get there.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And the other
coming.
question I actually don't know is the taxation rate difference between
Right.
marijuana. Does marijuana
Right.
have a higher tax rate than alcohol? Because that would also put that in Michigan.
I think Michigan actually has a higher tax rate than
as a
other
sales
states,
tax too.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would think that it is more. I mean, if you start to think about like Illinois and places like that, marijuana taxes, and there can be multiple ones, so that it can add up really quickly. So I'm certain that probably is more than alcohol.
Yeah.
But Michigan, I think their tax rate compared to Kentucky as a sales tax is higher than us.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
You might need to Google that one.
That's a write-in. Like,
Right.
yeah, have your listeners write in to us.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Give us
Let
some
us know.
thing.
Clarify
Yeah.
us.
The phones don't exist, so write to us.
Start giving our personal phone numbers.
Not clarify us, but clarify it.
Yeah, just email
because we're not
in.
butter. But butter's a good thing, It can be. Hey, this podcast is a little bit about food too. So.
I know. I
A
love
little
it.
bit. We're going to talk about some
And,
food.
and can of butter's good too.
But and then my other huge piece, which I'm so excited and it makes me so happy, the state of Missouri has expunged the criminal records of over 100,000 adults who were sentenced for marijuana laws.
I think it's amazing.
I
And,
think you should put an applause right
right?
there. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous.
And they have until December 8th to release anyone from prison that is in prison for a marijuana offense, which is amazing.
It is amazing, and if there's no major violent crimes or anything, when it comes to cannabis, I mean, if we look over the years, cannabis has been used to criminalize our brothers and sisters of color. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that you can get into a deep conversation when it comes about that. How those regulations and stuff have been used to, what I would like to say, abuse the system in ways,
Sure.
And the fact that the majority of the people benefiting now financially from cannabis are us palm-colored folk.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for
Mayo
that,
sapiens.
and in a way,
So good. Those are so good.
so Webster's Dictionary, if you're listening,
New word for you. Don't cancel me.
Can we? I mean, I'm sure we can, but I feel like, I was going to go into my tinfoil hat theory too
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
that. So I was listening to something. Maybe I'll say that I was listening. I was on TikTok. Whatever. I wasn't listening to nothing. But they were talking about the enslavement movement and that it was an enslavement and then to except for prison, hard labor. You
Yes.
could do the hard labor. So I feel like maybe this might be a ball rolling to get that kind of taken care of too.
To start that,
maybe
yeah.
to start that discussion about. I mean, of course, it's already been a discussion for a very long time, but for people to be like, "Hey, this is kind of crazy that we let these people sit and work for no money, nothing,
Yeah.
no money."
There's
you
a
know?
really fantastic documentary that came out years and years ago, but it's about our education system and that filter that went, and how enslavement and then became hard labor and
Sure.
essentially still remains slave labor. But anyway, the documentary is called "Waiting for Superman." It's really a brilliant documentary filmmaker, and it's all about how our education system pushes that, by not having the same education system in certain tax brackets that
Sure,
we do.
yeah.
And, yep.
I mean, that's all Appalachian too, So
Right,
that's one of those
right.
things. It's like you can. Our elementary school is in like the 10th percentile. I mean, like the top of the state, and it's in this little thing. There's like maybe 300 students there, but
Well-
they're not. It's not the same as other and I'm not going to name, because it's not just
Yeah.
because they're their people have the money to make that happen. It's
Right.
not on them, but I'm just saying, like, these kids are smart too.
Yeah.
They could be afforded the.
And
the
it's not,
same
and it's
thing.
not, I mean, I think, I don't know, I'm 42, about to be 43. When I was in school, we still had music and theater, and it seems like those don't exist anymore. And on top of that, I just recently found out, I don't know about you guys, was civics a class that you guys had to take?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
that's why
yes.
apparently that's not a thing anymore.
What?
Right?
What?
They've removed civics from the majority of curriculum of public schools.
Wow.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird.
There's
It's
a lot
terrifying.
of things that we had that's not there, and I mean even getting to basic life skills. You
Yeah.
know, it's amazing to me that I meet people who are younger than me and they don't know how to cook. Just
Oh,
a
yeah.
basic life skill.
Right.
Balance a checkbook. Cook.
Home economics.
Right.
Did you see the Jenner kid that couldn't cut the cake?
No, I saw the same one that doesn't know how to cut a cucumber.
Yeah. So they got her mayor had a foal, and they got her a carrot cake, and like she just couldn't. She didn't know the mechanics of how to cut a cake.
That's like an absurd amount of, but I've also heard,
Of
that-
course, that's
that
reality
The King of England
TV.
doesn't know how to tie shoes. He can't tie his own shoes.
Well, when you're
'Cause he's
when
never
you're
had
not
to.
well, you're not made for that though.
Right.
Those girls are made to sell us underwear and
Not eat cake.
cake.
Don't let them.
They're
eat cake.
supposed to be really long and lean and walk down runways and sell us things. They
Sure.
shouldn't worry about tying shoes and getting cake. I mean, she's living. She probably doesn't eat cake. That's why she
Oh,
can't.
no.
No,
She probably wasn't allowed to eat cake growing up,
I don't know. I don't. Life is really crappy for people like that.
right?
I mean, cake is amazing.
Cake is amazing. I actually had to give it up a little bit though. I had to take gluten out of my diet, so it's got to be a gluten-free cake. But hey, there's still some good ones.
You can have a chocolate tort.
Well, yeah.
Yum, yum, yum.
But you're talking about Eastern Kentucky, and I think about as we progress here in the Commonwealth with our cannabis legislation, a lot of the income and revenues that could come from a recreational market could actually be applied to some of those things that you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like the gambling bill. My my parents were on that to get that pushed for the gambling. I'm sorry, I don't want to get on like a tangent or anything
No.
like that. I'm sorry.
Keep talking.
But they helped push that, and they were in the racing and the gambling and on the course unbridled spirit thing, whatever. And so what they were pushing was like, well, we can push that right back into our school systems, our roads, our infrastructure. All this can go back into the Commonwealth. And I just booked a casino gig in Ashland, Kentucky.
Nice.
And Ashland, Kentucky. I just booked it for February, and I was like, "My, have the tides turned?" Because it was just, and I'm not. Listen, a free religion. Do what you want to do as long as you ain't hurt nobody. But like, I just you want to dictate how other people live their lives. You know what I mean? And it could benefit just because, it's that whole religious Bible thumper thing. And like, nothing was more religious than Eastern Kentucky in the 90s, honey.
Well, and I think where we're at there is I like to say sometimes when I'm talking to my friends and stuff, maybe one of the things, I say on one of the on the first episode, I think the greatest way to love someone is to try to understand them.
Absolutely.
And I think the next thing that we need to do is maybe stay in our own lanes. We can discuss ideas and our opinions and that sort of thing, but when it comes to how someone else is living their life, why don't you try to understand where they're coming from rather than telling them what to do? And I know that's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Believe me, I'm not perfect at that at all. But I think that if we thought about that, what's right for one is not right for all. And I do agree with you. Growing up here, a lot of that does or has dictated a lot of the decisions that have had, and a lot of times that's not really turned out to be what's probably the best for the majority.
My county was dry up until about 10 years ago, maybe a little less. Mm-hmm. And it was, there's more churches than there are gas stations in my county, for sure. Mm-hmm. And it was overwhelmingly a yes, because, the tax revenue in itself, like I said, at the end of the day,
I think just
capitalism gets a hold of a lot of things.
My home county, I think it was 4 years ago, just went wet, and there was some prominent churches there that was against it, and listen, I love my neighbors, and I don't mind what people believe or how they worship. I think everyone's entitled to that, but I also believe that if someone is, I would say this to some of the folks there, the folks are driving over the county line, and they're purchasing the alcohol and they're bringing it back into the county.
Right.
So basically what you're doing is you're giving your money to the other county, and those counties love that, but you're also asking your leaders in that county to, hey, we got road issues, we got this issue, but the revenues aren't there. Mm-hmm. So, but they finally passed it. So now we just need to work on getting cannabis there.
I love it. All those two big issues, and that was always the biggest part, is the gambling and the liquor, and the liquor, and so like. That was always going to be the big issues, and that was always the downfall, and that was, or whatever. But like you said, it's like we would sit there and complain about the gymnasiums not being up to par with those things that the kids couldn't afford, the computers. Back in the 90s, like, I was aging myself pretty bad, but like, we were just moving into computers, and they were so expensive, and it was all of these things, like we just couldn't afford them. And these other counties and other schools were surpassing us. I'm not saying that it all came from just the alcohol tax, but I'm sure it didn't hurt,
And where alcohol and gambling is all fun and great, and my theme song, what is it, Cat Steve? Wanna be me, be me.
Yeah.
There's a million ways to be. I'm not a vocalist, guys. Sorry. Apologies to everyone listening.
I've heard you sing. I've seen you sing on stage. I'm for it.
But cannabis actually has benefits to society.
Yes, absolutely. It's not just taking, your paycheck and poisoning your liver.
That's
There's
right.
some wonderful things that happen because...
Or just handing your paycheck over to a casino cashier.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
And
I've
you
heard...
want to talk about that because you're the man with the plan.
We have created a lot of products at Ancient Aromas to help people who live. They want to live their lives with a little less pain. We're all aging. We're all getting a little bit older, and the more we move around, who couldn't use a little bit of cannabis to make you feel better?
Right. Speaking of it, you have a little gift for Rachel.
I do. I know that Rachel loves some bath soaks from our company, so I'm going to give her a bag of mango and coconut to go home and soak in. So,
my legs hurt so bad all the time because I refuse to wear sensible shoes.
I was going to say, you got some fabulous shoes on.
Yeah, I like heeled shoes, and like I soak in my bath. I was like, my legs are killing me, Justin. Let me hook me up.
So we know that your next cannabis experience, is going to be your bathtub. Maybe not.
Yeah.
What was your first cannabis experience like?
So,
do you remember?
Sort of, maybe. It's gonna be this one's gonna be my first one. It's the one I can recall it being,
Fair.
and like I was like fresh out of high school. Like I was a late bloomer in everything, and I was fresh out of high school, and I had gone to school at LCC, and my best buddy lived 2 blocks from me. He was a little older than I was, but we would go to the tree house on Furnace Mountain. And
like Furnace Mountain.
like Furnace Mountain.
Oh, that's
There's
a very peaceful place to
Oh
be.
yeah, absolutely. And
Have you
so,
ever been?
No.
Oh, we got to take her.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you come stay with me. That's
Road
what
trip.
we're. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hell, I'll take you. Hell, I don't know if I can remember where the treehouse
was
is.
gonna say, do we
It's
go to
like
the treehouse?
it's a million years ago. I'll make some inquiries, but so this was so insane. So we had got a break from school and we came back, and we had gone our separate ways into like different parties of the county because we went to the Bootlegger at the time, and
I know that feeling.
yeah, and there was light beer, dark beer, and Tversky.
That's
and,
about all you have.
and
3 to 4
Kessler.
I'm
options.
sorry. What was the third thing?
Tversky. Tversky.
That's a foreign film director. What's happening?
That's a vodka.
That's a vodka from where we come.
That is that is
Now I'm
gut.
saying.
That is gut
Gut
rot.
yeah.
Vodka
Oof.
and Kessler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
those are the 3 things you could get. And like, I went to school with the Bootlegger's son, so I was cool to buy it. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna name names, but if you're still alive, I love you, honey. I hope you're doing well. Anyway, so because he wasn't in good shape there for a while.
Well.
But anyway, so we went separate ways, and I had a cell phone. He didn't have a cell phone, and he called me from this party, and he was like, "Oh, this and this and this dude's going, and this girl's going. You need to be my wingman. He was like, want to hook up with a girl or something." I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll be there in a minute." So I go and pick him up. We go up to the treehouse, right? And I had a crush on like one of his little friends, and I was trying to, like, we all were blah, blah, blah. And they were like, "Oh, let's go. I got weed." I was like, okay. I was like maybe 18, 19 years old. I was super fresh, right? And they're like, "Well, we can't smoke it here." I'm like, "Oh, we're all under 21 and drinking our, but like absolutely not.
Don't
on the
smoke weed in the treehouse.
Yeah, no, the treehouse." So we went back into the woods and further into the woods to the second bonfire campsite. I feel like this was a setup and somehow. So we go back there, and so we're all sitting around, and it was like something out of Deliverance. It was insane. This dude walks out, not the way we came in from the roadside, but came up through the darkness of the woods, and he appears. And I'm like, "Oh no, this is weird." And like, we all think we're busted, right? And then we realize we went to school with this cat. And so like, we're sitting there and we don't know what to say to him because like, he dropped out of school. That was cool. Okay. At that point you had cigarette breaks. You could go and have cigarette breaks in school, and then you could drop yourself out at 16.
Did you have that in California or any of the other places?
Well, if you were at my private school, my first one in Massachusetts, if you were over 18, there was a place you could go. That was my freshman year. It burnt down because someone left a lit cigarette because it was basically
because
just
you
an
gave children cigarettes.
old wood shed. And so that was no longer allowed my sophomore year. And the California school
You
definitely
could get
not.
a note from your mother or father to smoke if you were 16.
I remember having the smoke breaks at the high school. I mean, that was a thing in our
Yeah,
county.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So like, this kid was like 16. He wrote himself out of school, was like, "Peace, see you later." We haven't seen him for whatever reason, whatever road he took in life, right? And that road came from up into the holler and into that little campsite. And so like, we were sitting there, and this is maybe funnier to me than I think to most people, but we were sitting there and he's like, do "Do you want to smoke weed?" And we've already started smoking. Like we had some like Mexican shake. It was just like stems and weed. There was like stems and seeds and stuff everywhere. But we thought we were, and it was like the postal service. It was 3 to 5 days before you could, and you had to know somebody to get it. Yeah. And so like it's 2000. It was like 2003, right?
In Eastern Kentucky.
In Eastern Kentucky, yeah, absolutely. The pipeline hadn't started coming up
And some
yet.
of that stuff was coming out of closets after months, or maybe from truly from Mexico. But
Now,
I know what you're talking about.
Listen, at one point, I didn't smoke it at that point. That's the thing. I couldn't decide what it was. I was at a horse show once, and like I was like 10 or something, and like all these older girls were like, "Oh, this guy." They were like 18 or whatever, and I was just a little sidekick, and I was just being nosy. Basically, I was being nosy, but like this dude was like but he gave him like a baggie, and it was lawn clippings. And at 10, I knew better. Like my mother and father lived at the foot of the cross, but I knew better. Like that was like there was no television in the thing, but I was like, this looks like lawn clip, and it absolutely was. It was like, and he was like, I'm not selling it to kids, like whatever. It was so silly. Anyway, but like those girls were a lot older, and I was just being like the bratty little sister and older, but like absolutely didn't do that. But this definitely was the first time. So we were all smoking. I'm coughing my lungs out, right? And the dude comes in. He's like, "Do you want to smoke weed?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so he disappears back into the woods, and I'm cognitive enough to know that we probably come up on his patch. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this sounds like we're gonna die. And so this is a true story. So he comes back and he sits down on the log, and we all roll up one, and we're all smoking. Of course, and of course, like it's totally illegal to do all this stuff, and we all are just like pacifying this dude. And so he looks over at me and he was like, "Hey, you remember me?" I was like, yeah, I think yeah. He said, I said, "Did we graduate together? Did we go to school together?" He's like, "I didn't graduate school. I didn't do this." And I am so paranoidly stoned that this man is going to just like put me in a box somewhere in the woods and I'm going to die. And so like, I remember like looking at my buddy, John, and I was like, "John, we have got to go." And that was always my biggest thing. And then like I've smoked weed after that, but of course, but like for the longest time I stayed insanely paranoid. And so like that dude coming in, and like I was just like, and I was like, "Oh yeah, well we're on drugs. I mean, that's just what's happening." Doing psychedelics was a whole different ballgame.
Well.
So I'm like, and you do both of those together, that sounds like that's recipe for talking to your ancestors or something. I don't know. But yeah, that was my first time. It was okay. I didn't die. I'm here.
You are.
I'm here.
Congratulations.
I think that dude did, though.
Bummer.
Yeah, that was a bad deal. But like, I'm pretty sure we were on his patch, and that would be my first time dying.
That'll happen. So speaking,
You may have to cut that one out. I'm
do
so
you
sorry.
no? We have ways because it's not a live show.
It's like, I'm so sorry. You may have to.
Why? We don't have to cut anything. That was a great. I love that story. Nearly dead by the hands of Mountain Mike,
But-
or whatever.
I don't remember what his name was.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's probably the good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably better. We don't need to name him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But you know what's really interesting is all of the people that I met when I was younger that was providing cannabis to me or whatever. I never met one that I could see where that would be super paranoid if you were out in the woods and dude from the woods comes and you think, oh, you know. But, you know, I never met anyone who supplied cannabis to me that totally was like, you know, serial killer. Like, I never got serial, or weirdness from cannabis suppliers.
No.
Like, I could be wrong about that, but I never.
Eastern Kentucky in 03, 04 was the height of, like,
The
thing.
epidemic.
Yeah. The thing.
Yeah.
The thing I don't talk about. I mean, it was just pitiful.
Yeah.
And it still is, and I think that's what happened to that guy. But, you know, my thing is that they were kind of poor, and they were looking to make a quick buck, and that's what that dude was doing too. But like here's the thing. about plugs is I can't. Here's the thing. It's like I run through them pretty quick because everybody that I kind of get my thing off of is like I end up having some kind of weird thing with. And so then like we all have to get weird about stuff. So,
It'll happen.
and then like,
So
and then I
weird.
have to call somebody. I was like, hey, dude, like, hey, blah, blah. Oh, you're not talking to so-and-so
Yeah.
no more? I was like, no, man, I'm not.
So it's more like love weed.
Absolutely. I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces. The girl that was doing my lashes was like, I'm 40. I'm not 40 yet. I'm 38. And she was like, she's in my lashes. And she was like, oh, girl, do you think you'll ever fall in love? I was like, girl, I fall in love at the grocery store. Like, that's what is. So love weed? Yeah, absolutely.
It happens.
That's
And-
what.
And being a New Yorker and an Angelino in my formative years, I definitely had some like, I might die tonight. I should not be here.
Yep. Been doing
'Cause-
that for a little while.
Well, so in New York, one of the ways, because you have to consider New York, like you don't just go to somebody's house. Like no plug is going to give you their address. Not then anyway. And you don't want to give anybody your address, and you're not going to do it out on the street because that's immediate, especially in Giuliani's New York, was
Oh,
just
yeah.
immediately in handcuffs. So the deal was you would page these guys, and then they would, text you, and I can't remember pagers or whatever, but you would get
Oh,
an
absolutely, pagers.
address and a car, like almost like an Uber. But this is obviously the 90s, way before Uber was even a concept. And the car would pull up in front of the bodega, and you'd have to get in the car with them, and they would drive you around the block, and you'd do the deal. But I'm a 15-year-old girl with like grown men in the back of like an all blacked out Mercedes driving around the Lower East Side. This is terrible, and I should probably have been human trafficked like 15 times.
Dude, when I was living in Cincinnati, going to school, I went to school in Cincinnati Art Academy, and I had a friend, and like, I mean, I didn't do that, like that was her boyfriend, but like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, as of recently, I've been like, I'm in search. Anyway,
Well, eventually, as a girl, you
Yeah.
wise up and you go, I'm just going to make friends with the dudes that have the plugs.
right,
And then they can go get it.
yes, yeah,
And I'll
that's
just-
always my go-to, like
Yeah.
contact, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what's up. But yeah, I mean, in my 20s, I was like, let me talk to you just a second, like, that this is where we die, right? Like, it was just so sketchy for the longest time about how to do it. But like you said, every super duper weed guy I've ever dealt with is just like, sit down and watch Pineapple Express with me. Like here, want one for the road.
Right?
That's always like my thing. It's like, well, you're sitting with it. You take a rip. Oh yeah, sure. Man, I can't drive. I'm such a granny. I'm such a grandma.
One of the things I want to do is
So-
you were talking about being paged. So for anybody out there that's younger than us, which hopefully there's a lot of you listening to us, if you haven't Googled it, a pager's a little thing you clip on your side, and we actually
911.
Right?
we even had we had all the cute codes and things,
They were
and you
cute.
could
It started out with just digital number. Like you would get a page and it was a number and you had to call that number back. And then we got hip to like
You had to find a payphone.
sending codes.
like
Yeah.
Missy Elliott beat me 911.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like,
Beat me
But,
down.
but then, did you guys ever have the pager set? So you would go to a payphone and you would call the like 1-800 number, and you would get an operator, and you would say the message to the operator, and then they would deliver that as a digital message on
Yes,
the pager.
I remember that too. Yes.
And we learned real quick that they could not type words like the 7 words you can't say on TV. Fuck, shit. All.
Yeah.
Where's your fucking ass at? Ma'am, I cannot type that message to this user at this time.
Oh,
Which
my
word would you
favorite
like me to use?
was doing the collect call. Once it went
Right.
digitized and there wasn't an operator. Now, the collect calls were operated for a long time by people, and then it went digital. And my favorite was like, would you like to accept a collect call? And I was like, it's me. I need you to come pick me up. I've taken absinthe. I'm naked in Newport. That was also,
Yep.
that was stupid that night, too. Anyway, that was my 21st birthday. And that was a weird day.
So you still use cannabis? Obviously, we know you take baths with
Oh,
CBD.
Yeah.
But do you still use cannabis recreationally, medicinally?
All of those things.
Yeah.
Listen, I kind of stopped smoking cigarettes because of it, and stopped drinking so much because of it. Like all those things are just great. But I write songs because I can't afford therapy, but I can't afford an eighth. So I can't afford that. But it's so sad that weed's cheaper than a therapist. But it's like a pacifier. But my dad had cancer, and he died in January, and I've had him on that. I have a funny story about that.
We have some of those.
I had got him on some dab and some stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So but I was like, it was not when we could get it. There was no, he'd had it for a while, but you couldn't get it at, I couldn't drive anywhere and get it from a regulated place or,
Right.
that kind of thing for recreational use or whatever. And
You hear that, Kentucky?
yeah, so I couldn't go anywhere and get it. So it was like a batch would be real strong one week and be okay or nothing the next. It's like it was a roll of the dice. And so he got on these dabs, and my mom was so worried. This has been years. Well, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and got really worried because she's like, Rachel, he didn't get out of his pajamas all day long, and he was sitting and petting the dog and watching cartoons, and I think he's really depressed. I think something's really upset. Something's really upsetting, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, Mom, what's going on? And so I pick him up. We go to a gig, and I was like, I got something I really want to talk to you about. And he's like, what? And he said, I said, are you okay? Is there something you need to tell me? And he goes, hell yeah, I'm all right. And I said, well, what were you doing in your pajamas till 2 p.m. and petting the dog and watching cartoons? He's like, oh, it's hot as hell. He said, that melted my face off.
Love it.
Yeah. He's like, that melted my face off. But for the longest time, I truly believe that and the CBD really helped him with his numbers. He had a form of prostate cancer. And for the longest time, he couldn't tell his doctors that that's what he was doing, because he was like, man, your numbers look great. And for the longest time, he did not have to take but radiation every 3 months. And then this last go, he had 2 rounds of chemo, and the second round just tanked him. And of course, I'm pretty sure that there's a little bout of COVID or whatever was in the air, whatever that is, whatever variant was going on at that time, and just a lot of combinations of things. But for the longest time, they kept him out of pain. He was never on pain meds.
That's great.
Yeah, never on pain meds. And then my mom has had sciatica nerve problems for as long as I can remember. And we are people that do not take Tylenol. And I've got her on she's like, this is the only thing. XL Chill is
Cannalachia.
Yeah, she's like, this is the only thing that and gummy. I was like, shut up, call me tomorrow. It was like, there's the doctors in the house.
So you guys don't do gummies, right? At Ancient Aromas.
So we have had some here or there. We can.
Well, I was going to give a shout out.
Yeah.
So last week we had Annie Rouse from Cannabis on, and I hadn't tried her product yet. And so the following Friday, Chill and I went down to the Cannabis bar and dispensary and bought ourselves a pack.
No, where's this at?
It's right here in Lexington, right across from Manchester Music Hall and the Manchester Hotel. Yeah. Go down.
Fancy.
Go down there, get yourself a beverage infused. It's delicious.
It's good.
And she also sells her gummies and
Yeah.
all kinds of powders and things. But I took a 13th floor gummy. Let me tell you what. So I have to sleep with the TV on every night. I'm a New Yorker brand. I'm used to all the noise. I need to have it. And Chill came in at 10 o'clock. Now, we go to bed at midnight, 1 a.m. He comes in at 10 o'clock to tell me that his gummy is working. I'm out. The TV's off.
That's amazing.
I'm done. Down for the count. And so eventually he goes back to making his spoons, which by the way, on the table are happy spoons.
They're beautiful.
And so he goes back to working on his spoons, and he's in there for a while, and he goes, oh my God, so late. What am I doing? I should never have been up this late. It's thinking 3 a.m. He looks at the clock. It's 10:45. So he brings himself into bed, and he's all excited because for the first time in years, he can go to sleep with the TV off because he's not used to sound.
Oh, you're not ADD or anything like that. I have to have white noise,
Right.
man. Yeah, absolutely.
But then the helicopter appeared in our room, which was actually just a fly. But because it was circling his head, it was just a helicopter. And he couldn't catch it, and so he had to turn the TV on to go to sleep. And because he just focused on the fly for like 15 minutes. So thanks, Cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our shout out this week.
So yeah. Ah! So is that like a Delta 8 or
No,
talk to me about
So
that?
she is using THC.
It's Delta 9. It's Delta 9. It's
okay.
hemp derived, and she's got a nice ratio that she uses. It is legal, and she has did a really good job. I mean, obviously,
But it's a naturally processed
Yes.
Delta 9. It's not a
synthetically created.
It's not synthesized in a
Yeah.
lab.
I can tell a difference. I
Yeah.
really can. And I know that maybe sounds a little strange, but like
Not at all.
I'm a little hypersensitive to the synthetic stuff.
Well, I mean, when you start looking at the different isomers and stuff, and you're thinking about how they attach to a receptor, you know, CBD kind of works
All that
indirect.
scientific
Well,
stuff.
CBD works
It's just like,
indirectly,
I got a head
and the
change.
others
Change
are
time.
a little bit direct. But yeah, you can tell a difference from. Well, some people can. Depending on what your sensitivity level is.
I don't necessarily like synthetic drug, like if any kind of
Right.
like anesthesia, anything like that. Absolutely, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And it really messes with me a little bit. I get crying, like on all that stuff. I cry.
But for me, Delta 9 has either given me an immediate headache
Yeah.
or not worked at all.
Oh.
Like there was one time where I bought Delta 9 from a local dispensary or whatever, and I went home, ate one, waited an hour, nothing, ate two, an hour, nothing. I ate a third, maybe a fourth one, until finally I was like, I'm a little speedy. Like I kind of wanted to like run around the house one good time, but I think that might have just been a sugar high from like
All
just
the sugar, yeah.
eating gummies.
Yeah.
Well, and all products are not created equally too when it comes to that, and you never know if something has been synthetically created.
Yeah.
So it's unlike.
So what's your go-to now that for Suzu? Do you smoke? Are you more edible? Are you
I'm a combo lady.
fair?
I'm a combo
Like
lady.
every time's combo, or like maybe today I'm gonna
Depends on
smoke
what
and-
I'm doing.
Smoke a
Okay.
joint, eat a gum.
So like, let me tell you,
Writing a song. You're gonna write a song. So what you do? Smoke.
I smoke, yeah, for that definitely smoke, and then I will crossfade. I will have a little bourbon, and then I am a bourbon girl. That is my jam, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like if you get into that mindset and you're like, okay, right now I'll go get all my feelings out. You know, you do the little bourbon, you take a little smoke, you're okay. But like Perfect Day. I've explained this Perfect Day to a couple of people, and it may not be the greatest, but it is my favorite. I like my combo gold. It's an edible and a smoke, and I like King Palms, and I like the blunt wrappers. I've gotten so stupid before it was like it was so faux pas to say anything like that. I went through the drive-thru and I was like, I want the maroon blunt wrappers, please. And my friend was like, no, we're going to jail. And I was like, no, it's okay. This dude's supposed to. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. But Perfect Day is you take your little Eddie, and then you go to your little massage ladies. I have my girls over here on Waller. We don't talk about whatever talk about. It doesn't matter. I go there. I love her. I'm going to take her to Disney World. I swear to God, one of these days I'm going to take her to Disney World. And she's over here on Waller. I go and I call her. I was like, I need an hour. And then I go and I smoke real heavy before I go in. I go get that massage. I go home. I take a soak bath. And then, like, I eat a lot of carbs, and that's my favorite day.
Do you also infuse your carbs, or are they just?
I'm not that cool yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm just a baby girl. I'm just
That's
a baby
fair.
girl doing this. I like, about 20 milligram gummy. And then, and then like I'll hit the pen like every now and then, like just to maintain. But I'll tell you what happens with that. You smoke, and then if you take that gummy, and by the time it's about 15 minutes in, 30 minutes in of an hour massage, you lost your mind. It's the best. It's the best thing on this world.
So now what you got? Do you bring? Oh, you don't. She doesn't have any.
Well,
and you got to bring some of the CBD massage oil stuff to
So-
your gal, and now you've also got it topical where the pain is pain.
Yeah.
And that's really, I was in massage school when we were creating a company, and I was using the formulas on myself because I was doing clinicals and in school
love
and
it.
working. But there is, we have a whole line of massage oils, and I know that you've got some products. I don't know if that was something you got, and if not, I'll get you some so you can take it to your therapist.
Not the massage oil.
Okay, well, I'll get you
Well,
some so your therapist can
so-
rub that on your body.
Well, okay. I may have to pay extra for that, but
Whatever.
Fair. So I want to talk a little bit about Rachel's music.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how did that begin? Where did your journey into being a singer-songwriter, where did it begin?
well, so when I was real young, I told my dad I wanted to be a singer, and my dad and I did a lot of things together, and we were partners in crime for a lot of stuff on that kind of thing. And he was not a musician, he wasn't a singer, but he had a lot of feeling. Like he knew, like it's like, oh, you got to say it this way, or you have to say it this way. And I'm not. Chill is a beautiful singer. I mean, just his falsettos are insane, right? And but like I'm a stylized singer. I think I'm a good singer, but I'm stylized, and that's kind of the reasoning for that, was that it was never really about so much of notes and things, but it was about the feelings that you convey. And so, I was 8, and we started doing that, and we started emulating people, and that's kind of how you start off anyway. And then I got older, and I got into bands, and then I realized that I was I was trying to be a front woman in a band with a bunch of dudes. And I'm not saying all dudes, so don't cancel me, but I'm just saying the dudes I dealt with were like, oh, you can get us the gigs, but like we don't want you on stage. And I was like, well, how do you think we get into gigs, bucko? Like,
this
what
high
is
school?
it? Yeah, it's high school
Yeah.
into my 20s. You know what I mean? And then, like, I took a little detour. I was like, I have to pay off college because college was just crippling, right? So I took a little detour. I moved to Oregon and trained horses out there for a
Really?
little
I
bit.
did not know that
Yeah,
about you.
like I have a sordid life. Now listen, I got all kinds of weird stories. I lived in Medford, Oregon for a little while and trained horses out there, and basically lived on a ranch. I was a ranch hand.
Nice.
And
I
I'm
don't know, so Oregon with ranches, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it was. Well, I was there for gated horses, and there was a couple. That's a wild story. That's something I can't tell on this thing. Anyway, but there's also like a weird spirit thing. Anyway, so I paid off student loans. I came home and I started I had a pizza shop. Yeah.
What?
I had a pizza shop. I had a pizza shop for about 4 years, and I ended up getting married and losing it, and that's how that stuff goes. And in that time frame, I hadn't really been playing a whole lot because I was like, work the pizza shop and get it up and going and all that stuff. And so I decided I would go pick up that. I was like 24 years old, 23. And so these guys would keep telling me, like, you don't do anything but sing. We're doing 4-hour gigs. We're a cover band, that kind of thing. And they're like, you don't play an instrument. That was always the thing, is you don't play an instrument. And your voice is so different that it just doesn't fit in with, this type of region that we're in or whatever. And that's cool. And so I was like, tell me no again. And I taught myself how to play guitar and the pizza shop. And everything happens for a reason because, I'd open up and and I was the only employee for about a year and a half. And I owned the place, so like I needed to make the money. And so I would do the lunch crew, prep, all that stuff. And so I had about like 2 or 3 hours where it was nothing. There was nothing until I got dinner. And so I was so broke because I put all my money in to this place, and I was dating my ex-husband at the time, and we were living together, and he had this really crappy guitar. I mean, it was just atrocious, and so was he. But anyway, I just had to get that one in, and so I took it to the pizza shop. I had no internet. He had failed. He had gone to taking guitar lessons, but like he wasn't. He didn't do it. He was a failed whatever. That guy, it was his hyperfixation that day, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I have a guitar. Every dickhead like that has a guitar rusting in the corner that he uses for like a talking piece.
We've all seen Barbie the movie.
Yeah, he couldn't even play Wonderwall. Like, please. So like, but my Tinder and my Hinge apps, I'm like, let's write music together, and I was like, bro, I don't know who you are. Or we would be doing that. I don't know who you are. So it's like a cool date would be. I'm sorry, Ryan, if you see this. A cool date would not be that. I don't know you. So anyway, I taught myself how to play guitar, and the first 3 songs I learned how to play was Whiter Shade of Pale, which was completely wrong. I always play it that way. It doesn't matter. I'll always play Whiter Shade of Pale that way. I've learned it that way. That's what it's going to be. And Lollipop
Make it
by
true.
Little Wayne.
Nice.
Lollipop.
Okay.
And Rude Boy. And like those were my 3 things. And I had this pizza shop, and I was just, I had a band with my best friend. All these things are true stories. She would come in. I had hired her. She was in high school, and her name was Catherine. She went by Cat. I call her Kitty. And she played piano and trumpet, and we had our own little band called Cat Turd. And I would do concerts in my parking lot and did not give a damn. Tell me no.
That's awesome.
Amazing. That
And
is
so,
amazing.
I have gone through being in bands and this and that, and I was like, I'd try to be a wedding singer for a hot minute. I was doing the Little Sister act, and when I say Little Sister, it was just like some little girl that gets up there and sings 1 or 2 little songs and looks cute and shakes her ass a little bit, and I get paid, and I did that for a little while, and then I was like, I'm gonna have my own band, and I stumbled into one, and then I met Kenny. Kenny got my dad hooked up on the he's my harmonica player, and got my dad hooked with the CBD, and he was like shipping it in from California, and we were doing this and that kind of thing. And I got this girl that can make the cookies and the darker, whatever. And he took care of Dad for a lot of years, and sometimes you find people that you just know that you're made out of the same stardust. That's what I say. You're made out of the same stardust. It's like an instant connection, and Kenny was like that, and so was John. And I found my home with them. And John and I just got back from Nashville last weekend, or a week. It was on a Tuesday. We did a radio show there.
I watched that last night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Listen, that girl got ripped, and I was like, girl, share.
Give it over.
Yeah, like, hey, listen, we're all friends. Like, we're on your show.
Right.
Yeah, but like, she was, and I was like, oh, it's probably better
On your Stardust thing, I was going to say, have you all noticed recently, like, meeting people that you feel like you've known forever? Like, it's just speeding up. Like, I know that's random to ask, but, like, I just feel like I'm meeting more and more people. And, like, people that are coming into my life and staying there for a while, it's like we've known each other for, like, lifetimes. I don't know. I
think it's speedier because people are more, and I don't know whether it was like the shutdown and COVID and all that stuff, but I mean, I do that. I mean, I marry people. I do over 200 weddings a year, and there's some people that I know absolutely click with each other, and some I call DOAs. They're dead on arrival. Like, I mean, I get them all shapes and forms, but I feel like people are just like, fuck it, we're doing it. I'm showing you who I am. You don't like it? Go.
I'm the weird that I've always kind of been that way my whole life. I'm like, I trust you're my friend until you give me a reason not to be.
Absolutely.
Like, that's just how I'm like, everybody's my friend, yay, except for you, fuck you,
Oh yeah, once you do it, you're done.
Yeah, once you cross it, that door is shut and it will never open again.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's,
I get
but so I'm looking over our question because, like, I think in that one answer you just answered like 8 questions, which is amazing, and I love that.
Oh, that it naturally did those things?
Yeah, you naturally answered like 8 other questions.
I absolutely did not study for this test.
I
I promise. I looked over and I was like, yeah, I'll answer all
you,
those.
you didn't even get the questions. So, oh yeah. So you because one of my questions was what artist that inspires you would surprise us, and I would say Lollipop by Lil Wayne is definitely a surprise inspiration. Knowing
now,
your music.
Now listen, I got a soft spot for it. I swear
love
I
it.
do. Kevin Gates could get it. Like whatever. I saw an interview with him the other day, and he's like, if she listens to Kevin Gates, she fucks. I was like, she does.
She
She absolutely does. He is a witch. I swear he is. He has got like some kind of chokehold on the masses, and I'm here for it. I'm be like, let's do it.
I dig
Whatever
it.
you want to do. But yeah, I do. I love hip hop. I love rap. So, and my brother's a rapper. That sounds so strange.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and like we wrote a song together. So he's like an Appalachian rapper, So it's like a jelly roll type thing.
Hey, look,
I get it.
my dad had one rap song on one of his albums.
Oh, I love that.
And you're not. He didn't actually do the rap, the lyricals on that. It was Lil Jon came on and he did a duet with Lil Jon that is the most unhinged fucking thing you've ever heard in your life, but it's brilliant, and we love that for him. But my other big question: so if you could open for any art, if you could be the opening act for any artist, living, dead, retired, who would it be?
Oh man. If I could open, and I'm thinking I just want to kind of meet them and put myself on a trajectory. I say this is so sad. This might be why I'll sleep with my plugs too. But I'm like, JJ Gray. I mean, like, I'm gonna go see him at the Shed. Holler. I know you're happily married, but like shooting my if you ever see it, you'll never see this. Like I'm respectful. I'm not that person. Like whatever. But yeah, JJ Gray. Like I've got like the biggest girl crush on him.
Oh,
Or boy crush, and then like he's an amazing artist, and like I feel like, and then I'm be self-serving. I feel like it would be it would fit. Like my music would fit, and then I would just have like new little audience and stuff. So
there you go.
I
I
think
did,
that's what
and
I
then
do.
would it turn into like a June and Johnny in your dream?
I would hate that. I mean, like I'm a Pisces and I'm delusional, straight up Delulu. I mean, all day, every day. Yeah, like no, I would hate that. That sounds terrible.
Right.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. If I want to get it, I want to get it honest. Like I want it to be like a thing, and I don't want to break up a happy home.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Like I meant, like
if,
you
like-
opened for him, and now you're a couple, and now you're touring the world together doing duets.
Maybe if like if his wife was like, I hate you, or like like I had to pick up the pieces. Oh, let's just write us a novella right now, like 2 hours until of a novella right now. And it's like, oh, maybe something like that. Yeah, but sure.
So maybe a spin-off podcast called like Musical Dating Game or something. I think that's where
That's
it
where
might
this
be
is
headed.
headed.
So that was the girl that did my lashes. She's like 23, 24 years old, and she takes a long time, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And she's like, girl, I just need to like know your life. And I was like, it is a tragedy. It is a comedic tragedy. It's one of those things.
Yeah, but you're a fun hot mess, like filled with glitter and pizza and rock and roll and
Yeah, I do. I love it.
and marijuana.
Yes, I wouldn't trade. My mom would say things, like, you get in your little depression nest every once in a while. And then you have that whole imposter syndrome a little bit. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not even big enough to have imposter syndrome, but I'm like, oh, I absolutely do sometimes. And so I'm like, my mom would be like, who do you want to trade places with? And I was like, I can't think of anybody I'd want to trade places with. I love my life. I've curated my life exactly the way that I want it. I've taken detours that I
Right.
shouldn't have taken, but
Now, I had a great, my favorite acting coach back in Los Angeles, Robert Diavanzo, used to say to all of us, if everyone in this room took all of their baggage, their emotional, personal baggage, and it literally was in a suitcase, and we all threw it into the middle of the room, 100% of the time, you're going to walk away with your own baggage.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not going to decide to go ahead
Yeah.
and take someone else's shit. You're going to get like, no, I know how to deal with this shit, and I'm going to take my own shit, and I'm going to go deal with it.
Those are wise words.
Oh,
Right?
I love it. Yeah.
He wouldn't exactly say it like I just did.
But you can dumb it down for the masses. It's all right.
yeah.
Do that.
So I'm moving on. Sorry but I'm not sorry. This is an interview process.
Don't be sorry.
So if you were to host a dinner party and you could invite 3 celebrities, well-known figures, again, living, dead, or retired.
I mean,
you're
I'm just
hosting it
going
at
to
your
do it
house.
because I want to hit like this one. Into like that wheeze that love drug.
Who are you inviting? Who's coming to your dinner party?
I want to say something like profound or something like that, but I'm not really that deep. I don't. Let's see. I feel like that if I got any of the dead ones up, that they would just be mean to me because, like, I would be a twerp. So I don't really necessarily want to do that. But like celebrities,
Any well-known. It doesn't have to be like a musical art.
yeah, I'm kind of thinking about that. Well, okay,
Cleopatra.
all right.
For all
No, I got it. This is what's up, and I'm Tina Turner for absolutely 1,000% sure. Why am I going blank? That's what we're working on. Tina Turner, 1,000%. She's been, and I got phone calls with the day she died.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's kind of like, I didn't think that I had that big of appeal about all that stuff, but like maybe that. And then.
But she was simply the best.
She was simply the best, man. Like, I've been in love with her since I was 7, since I knew what's love got to do with it. Like, I saw that and I was like, that's it. That's the pinnacle of being a woman.
Yeah.
That's who you are. You're strong and she went through so much with Ike and her records and just, all she took was her name. She knew that, well, yeah. Yeah, and she just took her name when she left him.
She was on my list of legends to see, but I never did get to see her. But she went, I guess she was in Europe, and she had really spent some time doing some mantras and really healing and doing some deep spiritual stuff over the years.
Yeah, and, that, I look to her in a lot of different ways, just not musically, but just like as an inspiration as a person.
Of course.
When you're down and out, like, I was like, it ain't as bad as Tina had it, sis. I mean, so pick it up. Get it going. Like, you're going to sit here and feel sorry for yourself when, it's that whole thing about there's kids starving and you didn't eat your place kind of thing. But, like, you got to really know your position and watch somebody pick themselves up from their bootstraps and with such grace.
Yeah.
Like, she had all the ammunition in the world to bury that man, to bury the people that didn't help her. And she was like, watch me walk. I was like, that's so hot. I love it.
And rebuilt her career.
absolutely.
She'd start
Just was
completely over from scratch, playing in the same dingy nightclubs.
She was, so she was like in her 50s when she was in her acting career in the 80s. What? That's crazy. To me, that's crazy.
It's amazing.
At 60, she had a legs deal. Like, she had her, with like I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. So, like, the pantyhose things. And pantyhose, for all you youngins, was what we put on because you couldn't have your bare legs showing but after Labor Day or whatever that thing was. And so, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And
She just looked at my husband, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know his mother was like, I can't wear white after Labor Day. I know that. So, yeah, her, Prince.
Oh, yeah. He passed away on my birthday.
I hate that.
That was sad. It was very sad.
So Tina and Prince.
Yeah, Kevin. Just so.
There you go. And what are you cooking for the 3 of them?
I mean, it'd be like peasant food. I know it sounds really crazy, but I feel like just a roast chicken with like some taters and parsnip and
I feel like at the end of Montgomery, Alabama, not Gary. Where was Prince from? Anyway,
Michigan,
doesn't matter.
wasn't he?
he's
Or
from
Wisconsin.
Michigan.
Michigan,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
He's from
I think it's
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Anyway,
Wisconsin.
my point is that they're going to love your roast chicken and taters.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's what I would cook them. And then like I put some magic in there so Kevin would call me after Tina and Prince went back to heaven, because that's where they belong. After they went back to heaven, like I'll be like,
She gonna be sliding over some special butter.
special butter.
Put that special butter in the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's your cooking tip for the day,
Yeah.
kids.
So if
Actually, I'll tell you what I put in my it's mayonnaise. And Snoop Dogg put it in his cookbook, but I learned it from a woman that went to prison. And I made good friends with her at and she was like, tell me how you make your mashed potatoes. We're talking about Thanksgiving, since Thanksgiving's coming up. And I was like, you mash the potatoes, you put butter, maybe some sour cream in it. She's like, no, you're living wrong. And I was like, I am. She's like, mayo. Why? Why did I believe her? I would believe Snoop Dogg all day long. But, like, why would I believe her? I don't know. But she was, like, my best friend at this call center I was working at, trying to scrap up from a divorce. You know what I mean? You're taking all them weird jobs to get out of debt, And she was like, Rachel Ray, let me tell you, you're living wrong. And I was like, I am. And I was. And I'm sorry, all my cousins that are weird about their food and all that other stuff, that's what you've been eating. You've been eating mayo and your mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving for about 10 years now.
Jill will not allow that in our household.
You won't do mayo?
No, I'm kidding. We have a whole thing
I mean,
about
it
cooking.
is a Caucasian condiment. I mean, it totally is.
So I'm just saying this because one time I made a Moroccan dish, which by
Yeah.
the way is North African.
Yeah.
And the traditional dish called for raisins, golden raisins.
Yeah.
Moroccan dish.
That seems
And I have
legit.
never lived down white people putting raisins in shit.
Potato salad.
for
Don't do
years.
that. Don't do that.
I have to ask, since you had a pizza place, pineapple or no pineapple?
No.
Oh, see, I like pineapple on my pizza. Do you? Like
I mean, you
pineapple?
can do what you want, boo.
Okay, so it depends on
The other
the
topping.
kind of pizza and so if I'm getting a true Neapolitan pizza, absolutely not. But if I'm getting like a Domino's, I'll put some pineapple and some chicken on it.
Okay. That's fair. I think that's fair.
So I also grew up with California Pizza Kitchen, where we
Yeah.
had like tandoori pizza and barbecue chicken pizza.
Now, listen, I mean, I had all the things. I had a hot dog pizza. And, like, you talk about, because I smoked a bunch of weed while I was working at that pizza shop. So, all right. So it was called the sous vide, and you could get it in two different variations. The sous vide, it was a hot dog. It's Sue's Hot Dogs is very famous in the hometown that I'm at. And so one day, one of my reps came in, and he was like, let me tell you, I got high as hell the other day, and like we were eating grippos and pizza, and it was amazing. He's like, you know what you should do? You should put grippos and pizza and cheese pizza together. And I was like, you're right, I should. That sounds like an excellent idea. So cheese pizza with a white cream sauce, grippos,
What flavor Grippos?
With the
barbecue.
Well, and I think we should.
I was
Is
assuming,
there
but I had to
any
check.
other?
Well, and I think we should say, if someone's listening to us on the West Coast or something, Grippos is.
Oh, I'm
is
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Well, true. They're chips from the area of like Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Northern Kentucky, and everyone here in Kentucky, it's L8s and Grippos. But
Yeah.
So it came with a combo. And I'm going to tell you what. Like, at first, it was like I just got, like, the stoners would come in, right? And so they would come in and they're like, I want a Grippo pizza. And so I would give them the Grippo pizza. So then it grew into this Grippo hot dog chili and onions. And it's called the sous vide. And let me tell you something. It was ridiculous. So my dad had the original recipe. I mean, everybody's granny, mommy, everybody had the original recipe to the Sue's hot dogs. And I've got it. And it was like they sold it. They sold it one time. It started at Bruins. They sold it one time for $1 million. Who knows what it was. And this woman ran it for years out of a trailer on the top of Steam Shovel Hill that had a parking space for like 3 people. And like in the summertime, it was only open in the summertime, and it was only open Wednesday through Saturday. And you had to stand it would be all the way up Steam Shovel Hill, stand in line for this stuff. It is mediocre. If you are not from there, I'm so sorry. Like it's like the Dark Knight effect. Like the Dark Knight was supposed to be so incredibly great, and then you go see it, and you're like, meh.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, whatever. It's like, oh, the new Fellini film's out, and you go see it, and it's like, you're so full of yourself. And it isn't. Do you know what I mean? It isn't. That's the effect. It's when that person hypes it so much in your brain, and then that stuff. So I'm telling you that this hot dog is amazing. It is still in business. They finally got control. It got weird there for a little bit, and people sold it back and forth. It is on Main Street in Stanton, Kentucky. You can go get a Sue's hot dog. Either you have to have the order. It's like going to Waffle House, but like you have your order smothered and covered. If you go to Sue's Hot Dogs, you want a chili dog with onions and cheese and and it's like cheese whiz cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so freaking
in
good.
a way, you're kind of there's a place in LA called Pink's that everybody is obsessed with, and I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But you go and you can go and stand online for like 2 hours for these hot dogs, and they're just they're foot-long hot dogs. They're fine. And you can get all kinds of but they've been featured on every TV show, and
Sue's is
LA
the best kept secret. I mean, it's Grippo's, Sue's Hot Dogs, and an L8, and I'm telling you, that is summer. That is summer. But now it's open all year round, but that is summertime.
It's interesting you say that. You're talking about, that was in LA, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about over in Stanton, and I grew up closer to a place called Owensville, and I consider Bath and Montgomery County home. But we had Berryman's in Mount Sterling, which was famous for their chili.
Yeah,
Are you familiar?
I've had Berryman's.
And then Irma's was famous for their burger, and it was a very good burger.
It was.
It still is. And Irma, who the namesake, she actually passed away this year, but her grandchildren have and her families kind of took over, and they actually won, I think, the championship at our state fair this year. So yeah, so I just want to do a little shout out there to some local folk back home. But it's great to hear the stories from Stanton as well as LA. But because we got to throw a little food in, because you get the munchies every once in a while.
So Rachel, last question, and then we're gonna listen to your. This is actually going to be a world premiere, guy. We're going to have a Rachel Crowe world premiere as of today.
It's exciting.
November 14th, 2023. But before we do that, I want to end this interview with, what is one piece, your favorite piece of advice that you've ever received?
It was hard to hear it, and I tell it a lot, and it's hard for other people to hear it. I went to see my cousin who played lead guitar for Brooks and Dunn for 20 years, Reba McEntire, and now he's on the road with Miranda Lambert. And went in his basement, and I was that dumb little girl. I mean, I wasn't little, but I was old, but little in music terms. And that played my guitar, and I sang for him. And he goes, "You sound great. You're doing great. You're doing good." And I said, "Okay, I'm ready. Let me go to Nashville. I'm ready." He goes, "You need more time. You need more stage time. You need your legs. It's every open mic you can get a hold of, every writer session you can get a hold of. If you're hanging out with people, make sure you're putting yourself with the right people. But when I say right people, that they're just there to work. It's not a party. If you want to do it, I mean, it is a party. But
you can have fun.
Yeah,
but you gotta
enjoy yourself.
He's in the yeah.
Chill has a lot of big feelings about that.
Yeah, I mean, like you're there to work. You can have a lot of fun. Like I treat my music like a job. And I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was like, it was a hobby that made me money, and I said, but I treat it like a job. And when I talk to promoters and things like that, when they're like, "Hey, well, look, we have 5 bands and we do this and this and that. And I was like, here's the thing. I guarantee those boys, every time they walk out of the door, how much money they're going to get. And I said, they love doing this for me. I love doing this for them. But this is a job for them. And I treat it like a job. I treat writing like a job. I treat finding music like a job. It is a job if you're going to do it this way. If you want to just piddle, just piddle. I mean, but like, just be serious about it and put your time in and don't worry about the money. The money will come.
Yep.
The money will come. I mean, I had a guy tell me one time, he was like, oh, you're so great, but you're so different. I don't think you're going to make it. And I said, well, what does that mean? What's your definition of making it? So put your goals out to be real clear about what you want. Do you just want to play around in a couple bars and the thing? Then do that. You want to do this, but like I was like, I want a hobby that makes me money, that makes me happy, that makes me do this stuff, and like I can get all my emotions and my creativity out into this. I love it. I've been doing this for a very long time, and as far as me making it, honey, I pay my water bill and my electric bill with this. So what's your definition of making it? Right. I got merchandise. I'm on Spotify. I mean, you want me to win a Grammy? I don't care about winning a Grammy, but like, would it be cool? Yep. But I made a goal for myself 10 years ago, and I'm where I'm supposed to be.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And with all that, ladies and gentlemen, please open your ears for Say My Name by Rachel Crowe.
I was like, is that in the thing?
Baby, I got a confession. Something I've got to say. It's coming down on my knees like a sinner. I'm begging for a little grace. 'Cause baby, I love to hear it. I think about it night and day. Oh, I love the way you're saying it. Love the way you're saying my name. Now baby, say my name. Love it when you're saying my name, say my name. Oh, baby, could you say my name, say my name? Oh, I love it when you're saying my name. Oh, baby, say my name. This is why poor Adam had to say to Eve, Lord, I give up this garden for just a little whisper, please. Give you anything that you want, but you got to say it to me. Come on, baby. And baby, say my name. Love it when you're saying my name, say my name. Oh, baby, could you say my name, say my name? Oh, baby, just say my name. Oh, baby, say my name. Cause some girls love diamonds, another one's one pearl. Shone like a night on the town, and blind and fast cars. But baby, it's real simple. if you wanna get on me, grab me up behind my heels, give me what I need and say my name. Baby, just say my name, say my name. Oh, I love when you say my name, say my name. Oh, baby, could you say my name? Oh, baby, say my
Killing it. Rachel, thank you so much for sharing
Yes.
that. That was amazing. That was, you know what? I think that we need to bring back or create a better, edgier Lilith Fair.
Yes.
And we need people.
Oh,
we
I
need
have.
ladies like you and Maggie Noel and my sister, and I'm sure there's
Yes.
thousands of other ladies out there that I don't even know about yet.
Oh yeah,
But-
my buddy here in Lexington, Destry West, and she's got the pedestrians. That they are like very edgy.
I love it, but somewhere in there, and I don't know the sciencey things about some, but you hit some megahertz, and I got the chills. That's all I know.
Oh,
She's
thanks.
awesome too, and you can work a stage as well.
Oh yeah. Well, last time you saw me, I almost passed out.
We were at the Masters Musician Festival, and it was hot that day. Yeah.
My guitar burned my forearm. It was so
Really?
hot.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just like beating down, but like I got to open for Nappy Roots. So like
that was awesome.
Amazing.
pain is beauty.
So
That works out.
I know that this episode won't air for a couple months, so it's hard for you to promote any shows unless you know of anything major happening in January for you.
No. Hopefully we'll be in the studio here in the next couple of weeks.
I love it. So this is your first track on what? Hopefully it's gonna be a new album.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's what that's going to be like. It's been, COVID was really hard on all of us trying to get our momentum back together, and then just really strange about how you promote things anymore. Like all of the venues that once were not, and the ones that we have left, it's like it's a different vibe.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I'll learn it. It's okay. It's all that. It's going to work. But yeah, I just. I'm hoping that this new digital thing, because I'm an old lady.
I feel you.
I'm
I
an
know.
old lady. However that works, I'm studying how to do TikTok right now.
Well, I was going to ask, since we're kind of pre-recording and you're mentioning, kind of updating folks that are listening. So where can people find like your social media, website? So
It's all Rachel Crowe, and it's Crowe with an E. CROWE, RACHEL, CROWE. You had to think about how to spell it. Every once in a while, it slips my mind. But you can find me on Spotify, Apple, any of those things. Of course, I'm all over all the platforms. YouTube, there's a ton of YouTube videos and things like that. And of course, TikTok. I just put an upload of my dog Bets because it was so cold.
Adorable.
Other day. Yeah, so I do that. I got reposted by Amber Rose because I was twerking in the garden. So if you want to go see that,
okay.
go to my TikTok.
We'll go find the TikTok, and
Yeah.
we'll be sure to have all of Rachel's links in the description of this video and of this audio podcast, wherever they may be living. We'll edit this in the future when I know where it's living.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
But yeah, well, Rachel, thank you so
Yes,
much
thank you.
for
Thanks
coming
for
and
having
joining
me.
us tonight and talking to us about cannabis and music and all of the good things.
I've had a really good time. This has been a really super easy interview. Normally, I'm going to say something really weird, but no, I can say weird things now.
Yeah, this is a good space to be weird.
Safe space.
It is.
That's a safe space. Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for Cannalachia tonight.
We'll see you next week.
See you next time.
Go with me. Go with me. Come on, Cannalachia.
It's the best. Oh.